Hi guys, your friend and John, the corporate breakout couple. Now, as many of you will know, we've been retired for the last 3.5 years, and this is a question that we often get from our viewers, friends and family.
And the question is, where do you get your income from? How do you all sustain your retirement lifestyle? How do you all manage to eat well and travel around the world?
The answer lies in our 8 sources of income which we will share in this video. So stay tuned. Before that, please like this video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this.
Let me first share about the purpose of this video. We'd like your focus and attention to be on the different streams of income that we've built rather than how much money we have made. The reason is the amount of money that you make comes and go, but the skill and knowledge that you build stays with you throughout, such that you can continue honing them and using them to make more money for you in the future. Therefore, what we're providing you are ballpark figures, mostly denominated in Singapore dollars, and because that's where we are from, and some in US dollars. When Fred and I got married in 2016, we both worked in the corporate sector for more than 10 years. We both knew that we didn't want to continue working for other people until we are 65. Therefore, we then set out a financial goal to be financially free and early retired by 2025, retiring in Penang. That was the start of our journey, and we went on to build different streams of income, learning new things and improving our financial knowledge. As some of you probably are aware of this part of the journey for us, we opened up a hawker food business in Singapore for 2 years in 2018 and 2019. Unfortunately, that failed, but it then opened up many more doors for us to gun towards our financial goal. 2020 was a year that accelerated everything we had put into motion since 2016, and that got us early retired. Okay, let's begin. Our first source of income, which comes at no surprise, were our full-time jobs. Fred and I were both sales working professionals, so therefore, together with our fixed pay, together with our commission, we put in roughly around 6+ figures every single year. So since the birth of our financial freedom plan in 2016, we became a lot more conscious about our every single spend, and we saved at least 50% of our income then. Income source number 2, which is an interesting one. Precious metals, which is gold and silver. Let me share a little backstory on this. In 2016, I actually picked up Forex. Yes, I actually started my roots as a technical analysis trader, trading currencies, futures, gold, silver, oil, and all that. So when I learned Forex trading, I didn't know how to position size. I didn't know much about risk management. So I ended up on my 6th month blowing 40,000 Sing dollars on one trade. And this trade was VIX futures. If you understand what VIX is, it's basically an index that actually goes inverse against the S&P index. But what I learned from that lesson was that actually you can find instruments that can hedge against the stock market, meaning if the stock market tanks, it goes inversely. So we were pretty good on the fundamentals of gold and silver because you really need to learn about the history and all that. So coming into 2020, call it fortunate or unfortunate, we managed to hedge ourselves with enough gold, which is a 6-figure position. During March 2020, when the stock market tanked for about 3 to 4 months, we actually didn't hold much stock position then because we were just coming out of hawker business, and that gave us a very healthy 6-figure profit because we were holding a lot of gold and silver. Income source number 3, stocks and options. Well, technically, these are 2 separate income streams, but let me just put it together as a singular paper asset because options can actually be employed to enter long-term stock position. Yes, that's one of the ways. But apart from employing options, by the way, Warren Buffett does that as well, into going long-term stock positions to enter, you also can use options to trade when you buy calls and you buy puts, and then you are trading within a time expiry period. So what happened in 2020 was the timing worked great for us because we were coming out of hawker business where I was too busy to go into stocks and all of that, and we didn't have any holdings going into 2020, but we had a lot of gold and silver where we hedged with a predictable stock market crash that could come, that was of course accelerated by the pandemic. So in that sense, our timing was great. So by the time we exited most of our gold and silver position, we then rotated into options, which well, if you understand the 2020 stock market, it really ran like crazy. Here's an example of one of our better days in August 2020, where one of our options trading account did tremendously well for us in that particular day, earning us 21,187 USD in one day. Now remember, at the start of the video, we asked you to not look at the money, right? So if you really understand trading accounts, you know that even though we make 21,000 in one day, it can go the other way as well. So the lesson or the point I want to make right here is, if you want to be, let's say, a millionaire, right? Are you ready to handle this level of swings? Let's say you are an investor, say you have a 7-figure portfolio. Are you ready to handle 6-figure swings? Let's say $100,000 in one day. Can your psychology stomach all of that? So the important thing to note here is, while you are scaling up your account size, you need to understand the risk elements that you are putting into, what you can afford to lose, and you must be ready psychologically for that kind of scenarios. So this particular trading account holds an amount of 200 over 1,000 US dollars. That means I'm actually not trading on leverage, which usually if you're a Forex futures trader, you will trade on leverage. So just to note, I'm actually not doing a leverage trade. So what we have is another options and stocks account. That's our bigger portfolio actually, where we go for slower moving and using selling of options, which, for example, the wheel strategy, if you are options person, you understand that we do cash secured puts, and we also sell covered calls when we are assigned a particular stock position. That's more slow and steady, and that amount gives us more steady stream of income. So for our stocks and options account consolidated together, by the year 2020 when we were retired, we made about 6-figure profit in those positions. Our fourth stream of income that got us early retired by 2020 is my favorite asset class, real estate. Now, earlier on, notice that we didn't do any leverage in our options and stocks account, right? Because we are actually doing leverage on real estate, and that is a very powerful, concept on its own if you really understand what it means. So real estate for the last 10 years actually has remained a very important anchor point for us to remain financially free with the passive flow of income that's coming in. Friend and I have more than 10 properties in 3 countries, of which they are in Singapore, in Malaysia, and one more country which we reserve the knowledge for our breakout community. Just to share a little, we are actually not leveraging on all the properties. A few of the properties are actually fully paid. So if you are somebody who is interested in the concept of FIRE, which by the way, we are not following FIRE, you know that you want to have fully paid properties by the time you are retired. So to qualify for that, we actually do have fully paid properties. It's just that when you are actually playing the real estate game and you understand how to harness good debt and leverage, of course carefully and with proper risk management, you can actually increase and accelerate your wealth tremendously as well. Now, real estate is an asset class that we really love and made us a lot of money in the last 10 years. For example, one of the Singapore properties that we flipped was around a mid 6-figure net profit that we made from, and that really gave us a lot of capital at the start of this journey. We also flipped properties from other countries for a 200% profit. Right? Imagine that. That's so hard to achieve in real estate in the span of 3 years. And then we also have, for example, the house that we were staying in, the condo that we were staying in that we last sold before we moved over to Penang. We also made a very healthy 6-figure Singapore net profit on that as well. By the way, that's for capital appreciation. What about passive cash flow and rental income? And that's where it really gets exciting. If you're a Singaporean like me, or like Singapore PR like friend, you have CPF and you have a lot of CPF sitting there because you're a corporate rat for many years like me. So if you know how to harness your CPF and make it work for you, you can actually take the income in net cash, and if you know how to arbitrage it in a different country where you can be a digital nomad or you can work remotely in a different country, you know how to make the Sing dollars work really hard for you. If you want to gun for financial independence and be retired, the aim of the game is cash flow. And if you're doing the right things in real estate, your cash flow should always be increasing over the years. By the way, are you interested in videos like this, talking about investing and all that? Put in the comments below investing, and then maybe we can create more videos like that for you. Our fifth source of income was our online education business. Well, that's the predecessor to our Breakout Academy actually. That's where we learned the ropes a lot in 2020, where we really got onto the online world, learning how to harness the beauty of the internet in order to make money online. So we did a lot of live boot camps. We also have master classes, as well as doing affiliate marketing. If you understand how it works, it can be harnessed to help you have stacked income. And that brought us a total of a 5-figure net profit by the year 2020.
Number 6, direct selling. About 6 years ago, I came across this excellent health supplement product which I use every day, and it's yielded excellent results. Therefore, I steadily built it over the years as my side hustle, and now in 2024, I no longer build the business. However, it is giving me a very nice passive income monthly. Number 7, director's fees, profit sharing, and business sell-off. During 2020, when COVID hit, everybody was working at home. So therefore, me and several friends, we started an online business, which was a massive hit. You know what people say, right? When there's a crisis, there's also lots of opportunities. So here's a lesson to learn. When the opportunity comes, say yes to it immediately and take action, because you never know where this business opportunity will lead you to. Now, for my end, I got director's fees, I had profit sharing, as well as when we decided to early retire back to Penang, I sold my share of the business. So that total overall business brought me in an income of 6 figures. The 8th source of income is business consultancy for John and coaching for me. Well, technically, those are 2 sources of income, but let's just lump it into one, okay? Over the years, John has a lot of experience in business development in MNCs and projects. So it's actually a very natural thing for him to move into business consultancy, consulting with small business owners. And as for me, I've been in the coaching and self-development training line since 2013. So it was a very natural progression for me to go into coaching and personal development on an individual basis. So this income stream has brought us 5 figures USD so far.
If you notice, in these 8 sources of income that we mentioned, some of them are active, some of them are passive. We have lost money in some of them, and we have made a lot of money in others. So it's really about different skill sets, building different income skills that will sustain you for the future. Here's a nice source of income for you as a bonus. We were actually in cryptocurrency stable coins for a while. Well, it didn't last for very long, for about 2 years, but it was bringing about 10 to 12% of passive returns every year then.
Ever since we got early retired, we've actually let go of some of these income streams because we're retired, right? However, we are not one to sit idle on our hands, are we, if you guys know us by now?
And of course, we are early retired now, right? And we want to enjoy life. So a lot of our investments actually went into passive mode. For example, index funds, ETFs. Yes, they're actually lower returns, but they give you stable income and help you beat inflation. At the same time, very little active work is needed.
Again, I want to stress, do not focus on the money that we've made. This video is really all about the mindset, the attitude, and the action taking that needs so that you can start creating the passive income that you want. You see guys, for example, if I were to focus on George Clooney's net worth, how does that impact me? How would my life change by focusing on his net worth? Instead, the question that you should be asking yourself is, what is my net worth? What is my source of income? And how can I work to grow that? Now, that question, if you really focus on that and work hard on that, your life will change.
Ever since we got retired in 2020, we had 2 good years of connecting with friends and family, spending quality time with them, and also resting and getting relocated from Singapore to Penang. And notice that since then, we didn't stay still. We continue creating, we continue learning, and continue evolving.
And that, my friends, is the key to success. Another key to our success is actually our contribution to society. For example, when we were in Singapore for 2 years, 2020, 2021, and part of 2022, we actually bought meals for the low-income elderly via this program. We also joined an organization to do beach cleanups around the beaches of Singapore, and in our own initiative, we also went to East Coast Park to pick up litter. We also volunteered our time and expertise to coach a group of people on how to excel and win in life.
Now finally, embodying the principles of wealth creation, you know that money needs to flow. When money flows in, it also needs to flow out. So we actually donated more than 5 figures over the years to different charitable organizations, and as a result, more money flows in. And that is really the principle of abundance. And another important component of wealth creation is investing and spending on who? On yourself. When you spend money on yourself, you are creating the best possible returns in your life.
As you can probably tell by now, all our sources of income did not happen by chance or by luck. It all came with a lot of hard work, dedication, a lot of planning, and also saying yes to opportunities.
And also spending a lot of money on ourselves.
That's right. So you have to spend money to earn money.
That's right.
Well, there you go, guys. This is us. Now you know the secret to our success.
If you'd like us to create more videos like that, put in the comments below investing, where we can cover more on personal finance, financial literacy, and about mindset.
Finally, what do you have to lose by joining our Breakout community? Especially if you want to learn on how to create different sources of income. We've got lots and lots of ideas in it. Plus, you can ask us anything on our monthly live sessions. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye!
Bye!